Here is a very interesting historical relic. It is one of the brackets that Edison used in the machine shop in the early part of 1879 to show and demonstrate to his financial backers that the series system, where one lamp was dependent upon the other, was impractical. For that experiment, he put 7-8 such platinum spirals in series, and they were lit up by a Gram machine. And when the current got too strong, one lamp would perhaps burn out and all of the rest would be extinguished. This is a relic that is perhaps a forerunner of that great industry known as the electrical fixture industry. We have here some other historical relics. An old bracket in which 2 lamps were put in series. Here you will see that it is the beginning of the screw and bottom plate system that is used in all sockets today. Here is another bracket that was used with platina lamps of low resistance and in series. They are all original. In 1883, Edison made a second monumental achievement in wireless. While working with some of his lamps, he placed a plate between the filament and found that he obtained a current when that plate was connected with a galvanometer and the other end of the galvanometer to one leg of the filament. In radio words, he obtained a plate current. He opened vast fields of research for pure scientists with that achievement, that discovery. That discovery today forms the basis of that billion-dollar concern in radio here in this country, not considering in other parts of the world. Edison also made lamps at that time in which 2 elements were placed between the leg of the filament. We have here some of the old ancient experimental lamps, but this is the first one. The scientists of the world have honored Edison by calling this the Edison effect lamp. You can't make a radio lamp without taking the Edison effect. It is the basis of all radio lamps there is. And that principle is used also in many other places, in talkies and so on. In 1904, Dr. John Ambrose Fleming of England applied the Edison effect lamp for the first time to wireless. In 1907 came De Forest and took the Edison effect lamp, improved it, and developed it for radio. Such were the great contributions so far up to 1883 that Edison gave to wireless. And as the fundamental pioneer in starting the wheels of progress and in erecting great industries that have dazzled the world since. I want to tell you now of another, 3rd fundamental contribution that Edison gave to wireless. In 1885, here in this laboratory, he erected a wireless system in which an induction coil was actuated through rapid reversals by high-frequency current. And in his patent, of that day, you will find that he has between the mast of ships directional antennas, while at land he has indirectional antennas. This patent is full of radio literature, which at that time, of course, did not exist. Edison talks in that patent of the absorbing effect of high houses, trees, and elevation. This is one of the fundamental patents in modern radio, in modern wireless telegraphy. The patent was sought for by speculators, but Edison preferred selling it to Marconi later on, when that genius began his great work in commercializing wireless telegraphy. So you see, though Edison's three discoveries, etheric force, the Edison effect tube, and the wireless antenna and other parts of the system, can never be forgotten in the history of progress in that art. This is a replica of our old organ that we had at Menlo Park. The original was taken to Orange when Edison left the Menlo Park laboratory, and there in the fire of 1914 was burned. But it is a perfect replica of the old organ. It was given to Mr. Edison by Hilborn Roosevelt, an organ manufacturer in those days, and by the way, he was the uncle of President Roosevelt. Here, during our midnight lunch, Edison would often ask one of the boys to play one of the tunes that were played in those days, like My Grandfather's Clock, Up in the Balloon, and so on, Nearer My God to Thee, and Rocks of Ages, songs like that. I know Edison himself used to play there. He operated on the pick and hunt system, but he could play that Nearer My God to Thee very nice. Won't you go and try the organ? Charlie, will you please go and pump? Then, after the lunch, when the music stopped, work went on again. Work and the experiments that were conducted then at that time were interesting. Why we worked through the night. It happened that we worked often 2, 3 days in succession. If anyone got tired or exhausted, why, we did as Edison did. We pushed aside some of the instruments on the table and took a nap. No one ever said anything. But if anyone began to snore, That was beyond the limit of toleration. At first, we quelled the snoring by giving the patient a good dose of ammonia, concentrated spirits of ammonia. Then later on, when some new boys were added to the staff, one of them made a contraction which we call a corpse reviver. I'm going to show you that corpse reviver because it belongs to Edisonian history. You see, here it is. And that was placed on the table where the man was sleeping, and all of a sudden, well, that stopped snoring. And it was a very effective instrument. Something about that instrument seems to take the ladies that come here and see it. For many of them have asked me confidentially, where can I procure one?